$1,091 for a year. If I have been
Of
doing
treat trips.
Yeah.
For a year of treat
Yeah.
trips? That's a whole trip. I feel like we could go to like Australia with that.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Angela Meyer, and I work as a gender equity consultant and strategist and advocate. And so part of my role is I am really passionate about feminist financial well-being, essentially. So I run something called High Money, which is an online course that my good friend Rachel Davies, who's an amazing therapist, and I have started. And that's all about helping women have a better relationship with money. And also, I have been privileged enough to work and develop The Table, which is, again, all about addressing female financial literacy, wellness, etc. And so those two things come together, and the aim really is to empower women to have as much control over their money, being able to build a solid financial future, and actually just kind of trying to shake off some of those ideas around money that we all have as women. So I've been sort of in this space probably for about 7 or 8 years, and that came because my own relationship with money was really bad. And, you know, my father went bankrupt about 3 times. My own sort of money story is pretty full of mistakes and issues that things I shouldn't have done, etc. And I was like, how is it that everybody else seems to understand money and I just don't really get it? And I was running an agency at the time, and we won this contract in Australia to work with a superannuation company, and it was all about the retirement gap in Australia, which was men retire with an average balance of about $500,000, like $500,000, and women were retiring with an average balance of about 120 around there. Yeah, and I was like, this is utter bullshit. And so I thought, part of my job was to be able to kind of explain this. So I had to do this big deep dive into the world of finance, which I was terrified about. But actually, it was the best thing that ever happened. So I kind of realized that it wasn't anywhere near as hard as I thought it was, that there's all this jargon and all these terms that make it really difficult and really challenging for people who haven't grown up in this world. And also when I started looking at these gaps around retirement savings, around pay gaps, around access to high quality part-time jobs, etc. I really thought, I've always been hardcore feminist, but actually seeing it in black and white, I was like, this is appalling. And but then also I started to see that my own financial well-being was really improving because I was starting to understand a lot more. I was able to save, I was able to still have treats, and so I became, one could say, quite evangelical about, sharing this, that, hey, women, it's not that hard, we can totally do it.
So talking to Ange made me really think about what other things are that I waste my money on, and this one is kind of weird. I like to buy books, a lot of people do. However, I buy a lot of horror genre books. And I don't read them. I read the back of them. That's as far as I can get because I get too scared to actually go into them. There was one time I read one book. It was a Dean Koontz book. And I had nightmares for about 3 months straight. It was bad. It was horrific. It was
weirdo.
I know. But I still keep buying them. I read the back of them and I'm like, this is interesting. I might read it one day. So I just literally... And some of them are like $40. That's kind of a waste to have a book sitting in my bookshelf that I know I'm not going to read. My issue is that for some reason, well, everyone gets this, but when I walk into a bookshop and I see the books and then I go and buy it, I get this dopamine hit, and I'm like, it feels so nice. The smell of a fresh book, the holding it, putting it into my bookshelf, waking up every morning, seeing it in my bookshelf and being like, you look good there, you fit in. It's an issue. I should see someone about it. It's quite concerning because I'm losing money.
Well, you're not even reading them, Bronte.
I know. I need to, but I can't. I can't force myself to do it because I'm scared.
Stop buying horror books then.
But the back, like when you read the back descriptions, they are good. Like, really good. Another bad thing of mine, you right now are a prime example, but bleaching my hair, constantly spending like nearly $300 to bleach my hair. And well, not anymore, I'm brunette now, but I've been doing that since I was probably like 13, 14. Yeah, so like 7 or 8 years, which imagine how much that would add up to.
No, I'm not gonna do the maths.
No, I'm not going to either. And the only reason I did that, I kind of liked my hair blonde, but I wasn't a big fan of it. My natural, love it. But I honestly felt pressure. I felt like everyone bleached their hair. I felt like a plain brunette colour just wasn't it, that I didn't fit in if I just had normal hair colour. So I went to blonde and I looked great, but I lost a lot of money in the process of wanting to fit in, and I regret it. But it's okay, because we all make mistakes. We all financially lose some money in stupid decisions and everything, but it's okay. In a world of like fast fashion and online shopping, what tips do you have to practice safe spending habits?
Oh, yes. My goodness. I think we all fall prey to this. One of the things that we really encourage is keeping a money diary. And so this is where over the course of a couple of weeks, or however long you choose, but a couple of weeks is quite a good amount, is to write down everything that you spend money on. And not only write down everything that you spend money on, why you chose that purchase, and more importantly, how did it make you feel? And this is super interesting because at the end of that 2-week period, you can then kind of just like look at it and go, wow, so are there any habits that I have here? Are there any things that I am wow, that was a really big emotional spend because actually maybe I was feeling sad or I was feeling angry or whatever it might be. And when I did this one time, I realized that actually I didn't really want to go and get a coffee, but I just wanted to get out of the office. And actually that was the need that this coffee was meeting. And so then I was like, oh, well, I can just go out of the office and just go and get some fresh air. I don't need to go and spend 6, 7, God knows how much money on a decaf flat white. It doesn't matter. And so that's a really good way. It's just kind of getting conscious about where your money's going and what you're spending it on. I personally, I do not keep my credit card details on my phone or anything like that. So, if something comes up on Instagram or TikTok or something, and I think, oh yeah, I'd love to get that, I have to get up, I have to find my wallet, I have to put the numbers in, and actually sometimes just slowing that whole process down gives me enough time to go, do I really want that? Or is it just a little like, yeah. And when I want that kind of instant gratification hit, I have a Sharesies account that actually I just go and buy some shares because I'm still getting that kind of dopamine hit of, purchasing something, but actually I'm doing something that's going to benefit me in the long run.
That is such a cool idea because it's so easy to just like tap your card, or if you've got your card saved online to just click pay and it's there, and it literally is. It's like that dopamine and serotonin, like you get that feeling in that moment, but then once it's over you're kind of like regretting it. It's a moment thing, which is so cool. The diary idea is such a good idea because those things we do gloss over and we miss it because it's so easy to just purchase something and forget about it.
Yeah, and the other thing that I sometimes like to do is I like to get cash out and have it in my wallet and actually be like, okay, I've got X amount, maybe it's $50 on fun stuff, on treats for the week. And then once that money's gone, that money is gone. And there's something about having this kind of like actually holding it in your hands and thinking, do I want to give that $20 for that thing that actually maybe I don't even really, so there's something about for me, I think there's something about that getting conscious, getting really clear about where you want to spend your money, and that's, there's no judgment in where you spend it. Like, I love buying plants, as you can see, and it doesn't matter what you spend your money on. It's just that it's just taking that moment to think about, is this really where I want to spend my hard-earned money? Is one way of kind of thinking about it. And the other thing that I also like to do is have a bit of a spending holiday, which often happens because, I get paid monthly. Sometimes the last, week before payday can be a bit tight. But actually, again, it's that thing where I'm like, actually, I'm just not going to spend money on things, other than, the basics, the necessities, which, again, it's just that getting conscious, thinking about it, slowing it down.
So, Ange mentioned in our chat that a really good way to keep track of your money is to keep a diary. So, writing down maybe every time you go somewhere and buy something, writing that down so at the end of the week you can look and pick up on maybe some bad spending habits that you have.
Do you know how many treat trips we do?
Countdown is just down the road. It is so easy to walk down there and get a treat that every afternoon we're like, I think it's time for a treat trip.
Like, treat trip.
So I did some maths. I went through my bank account last night, and let me bring it up.
I don't know. Please don't tell me.
No, like, I feel sick looking at it. I nearly vomited. Yours might not be that bad, but I've added up how much I've spent at Countdown in the last month. It makes me sick. Like, I can't.
How much have you spent?
$90.96 in 1 month. That was excluding groceries. That's what was for treat trips. So that included maybe a something sweet, a drink, and maybe a snack. And that's what it was. And we've kind of been going like nearly every day, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, we have. We're really bad at that. That's actually that's a whole grocery trip.
Yeah.
$90.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Because if I add that up, let me do the maths. If every single month that was that, $1,091 for a year. If I have been doing
treat trips.
Yeah.
For a year of treat trips. That's a whole trip. I feel like we could go to like Australia with that. Maybe not Australia, but you know what I mean? That's a whole trip somewhere.
Yeah.
And we're spending it on treats. Money well spent, I think.
No, I regret it. I'm doing this diary thing now. I'm writing down everything I spend because that is bad. I didn't realise that's how much I was spending. I was kind of like, because it's so easy. You've got your card, you can just tap it and you kind of forget about it. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like kicking you in the ass being like, dude, you're spending this much money on this shit. Like, you don't need it.
Especially with girl mass right now. I think that's made it worse. I know, I've seen it everywhere. It's like girl mass, like if it was supposed to be $80 and you spent $60, now you've got $20 to spend. Yeah. I'm really bad at that. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about that, how I got a tattoo. I had to get out $340 in cash, but it only they only charged me $200 for it. So I was like, okay, I have like $140 left. I can go and get a new piercing. That's only $40. I have $40 cash. Might as well. It's not taking anything out of my bank. It's just cash sitting there, so it doesn't count.
Exactly. Cash doesn't count. Cash isn't real money.
Bad mindset to have.
No, I know. It's so bad. But if I have cash, it's not real money. If it's not coming out of my bank account, it's pretty much free money. It's so bad. I'm like, wow, it's not costing me anything. Like, this is free.
That's where the diary comes in. Ange mentioned that if you like feel like you want to invest in something, you want to put your money into something, but like you don't want to waste it, that Sharesies is a good start. She said she does that.
I've heard of Sharesies. I've wanted to do that, but I got scared. I thought it might have been a scam.
Yeah, well, it's not a scam.
Can you verify this? If I put money into it?
And she said yes, go for it. But obviously there's risk. There's a likelihood you could lose money. There's also a likelihood you could gain. So there's...
How does investing work in that? I don't know if you'll actually have the answers. But I know that when you put money in and then it goes up, are you supposed to take it out when it goes up, or are you supposed to just kind of leave it there? Like, how do you actually make money? You know what I mean? Because it's not money back in your pocket.
I don't know.
I feel like investing is something I've always wanted to learn more about, because you pretty much just like put in money and then it grows for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I'm not sure how it works because I'm like, at what point do you take that money out?
Yeah.
Or do you just forever leave it there, but then it's like $1 million and you're like, oh yeah, I'm worth $1 million. I can't access it though. Am I stupid? I think I might be not.
No, I understand what you mean. Maybe that's...
Maybe it's something we should learn more about investing.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody should invest.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, you can totally check out the table. We've got some really good articles on there. Sharesies is a really great place to start. You don't need a lot of money. I would recommend following Girls That Invest as well, reading some Ranker's book. I think the other thing that I often like to think about is like, if you are a good op shopper or a good bargain hunter, then you'll be fine in the share market because it's pretty much the same principle in the sense that, you know, I've been a great op shopper my whole life. So I can walk into an op shop and I'll be looking for like cashmere or silk or, you know, like good quality fabrics or good quality labels, etc. And, you know, I might buy them, I might fix them up, and then I might sell them on Trade Me. Essentially, that's very similar to what the stock market is. And so, you know, you don't want to pay full price when something, you know, when shares are really expensive. You don't want to pay full price. You want to try and wait till they go on sale, or, you know, when the market goes down, and that's a really good time to buy. So I kind of go, yeah, if you can shop and you know how to bargain hunt, you'll be totally fine on the stock market. And the other thing I would just say is set and forget. I think there's a lot of dude bros who, you know, sit there with, you know, constantly trying to game the market, but actually Sim in one of our events, she mentioned that actually the best shares or the best kind of the people or rather the shares that are doing the best are the ones that are people just completely leave them alone.
That's really cool, actually. I didn't know anything about that. I've briefly heard of Sharesies through like social media and that, but I was kind of scared of it going into it because you see people saying that they have lost what they've invested and whatnot, that it's a risk going into it.
There's absolutely a risk with anything. Yeah, it is absolutely a risk, and I think that's part of that whole thing about, you know, that I talked about at the start, like getting really comfortable with your relationship with money and going, yeah, okay, I'm prepared to give it, you know, to give this a go, and yeah, be okay that maybe you're not going to get it back. And if you have a KiwiSaver account, you're already investing. You're already an investor.
Do you have KiwiSaver?
Nope.
Do you not?
Nope.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Bronte!
Yeah. My parents very cautious about KiwiSaver just because people were losing money from it. Like, so that was like their biggest concern.
I can't even see what's in my KiwiSaver. I've done... So I signed up for KiwiSaver when I got my first job. I was like 15, turning 16. And I've had KiwiSaver ever since then. But I worked at a supermarket, Pay and Save, and they signed me up for it. So I'm with the AMP scheme, and I don't really know how to change it, and I don't know how to see how much I've gotten there.
Yeah.
I think I need to like look at my IRD, and I can kind of go that way.
Yeah.
But last I looked, I think I had like $14,000 in there.
What? Oh my god, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I need to change schemes. My dad's on a really good scheme because I've realised because I'm young, I don't actually need the money, so I might as well put it in because the one I'm in now I think is low to medium risk. Yeah. I should put it in a medium to high risk. Again, not an expert. Don't take my advice on KiwiSaver and how you should do it because I don't know, but this is just what I'll do. I'm not an expert and I wouldn't take my advice as, you know, what to do, but I know that since I don't actually need that money right now, like I don't plan to buy a house and I don't plan to retire anytime soon, so that money might as well be more high risk because I'll probably lose a lot, but at the same time it kind of fluctuates. That's one thing with investing, it fluctuates. It goes up and down. Like you may lose, say you've got 50 grand, you may lose like 20, but then you could gain another 50, and it just kind of goes up and down. And I know one tip is that when it goes down, don't take your money out. You kind of just let it sit because it will most likely go back up unless obviously it is a crashing one where it just goes down and down. But for the most part, just let it sit. Like, trust it. This is what I've heard. Again, I'm not an expert. I don't know I don't know jack shit
Yeah.
about investing, but this is just what I've heard. So with KiwiSaver, my dad has told me might as well put it in high risk because he's like, you don't actually need that money. Like I can't even access it anyway, so I might as well put it in high risk because then if I do come out 50 grand more, it's like sick.
Yeah.
And also, girl mass, that money's free money because I can't spend it anyway, so you might as well. So it's all about the mentality. I can so see why your parents are like, oh, you lose money, but at the same time, the government also puts in money or your employer also puts in money. So the way I think about it, I'm like, no, they've lost their money. My money's still there, you know, because they put in either equal or a little bit less to what you've put in. Again, fact check that. They put in a percentage. But yeah.
Wow, good to know.
Investing is so weird. I'm like, you're actually not even doing anything. You're literally sleeping and making money.
Yeah.
That's the goal, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what Ange said anyway with Sharesies. If you're someone who's busy and you don't want to sit around kind of dealing with stuff, trying to make your money grow, then that's what Sharesies is great for. You just chuck it in and keep an eye on it. Every now and again, check in, and then you're off.
I might do that, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe not right this second, only because I am a $30,000 in-debt uni student. But if I got a little extra gold coins in my pocket, might...
Perfect. Chuck it in. Good idea. What are some key lessons or skills that you believe all young women should learn when it comes to managing their money effectively?
I think get conscious about it. I think know what you're worth, I would say. Like, it's very easy. We have quite a high gender pay gap in this country, which also translates into a gender pay gap in terms of retirement savings, which all this stuff, like when you're 20, you're not caring about retirement. But again, we will be old one day and you don't want to be homeless. So like, think about this. You negotiate your pay. So the best time to get a pay rise is when you change jobs. And so this is where you can actually, you've got a lot of bargaining power basically at that time. Once you're in the role, it's usually like a yearly cycle, or, there's certain points through the year where you would sit down with your manager and, have to demonstrate your worth, etc. But when you're changing jobs, you really, ask about paid parental leave. Ask about what other benefits they have. Don't be afraid to say a number that seems so outrageous. And there's an amazing woman called Cindy Gallup, and her advice is always like, think of a number that you can say without laughing and ask for it. And, that has definitely stood me in good stead in my career, and I would encourage every young woman to do that.
How do you make saving and investing feel like a rewarding game rather than a daunting chore?
Well, like I was saying, like I get a bit of a dopamine hit when I go and buy some shares, or I put some more money into my investment account, I think it all comes back to that thing about, it's like, what's your relationship with money? How does it make you feel? Where do you want your money to go? Being conscious about it, all of that, and examining those beliefs and just getting really clear about that will give you that. Well, it certainly has for me, has given me this real sense of kind of excitement about my relationship with money, about engaging with it and wanting to learn more and wanting to understand more how it works. I really encourage people to definitely go to the table, definitely check out High Money, come along to our events that we host, and talk about money with your friends. Like, let's just normalize it, make it an everyday conversation, not some kind of weird thing that we can't talk about.
Do you want to go on a sweet treat trip after this?
Obviously.
Perfect. Alrighty, I think it's time for a treat trip.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Yep.